What if the two deadliest predators in history met face to face? Not in imagination, but in flesh. Two monsters from opposite worlds, born to rule, destined to destroy. One was the tyrant king, built like a fortress of muscle and bone, its jaws strong enough to crush steel. The other was the river dragon, longer, stranger, a half-reptile, half-nightmare that hunted where land met water. Both unmatched, both unstoppable. But if they ever crossed paths, who would survive? 66 million years ago, the Earth was a battlefield of giants. Forests stretched endlessly beneath burning skies. Rivers twisted through primeval swamps, their waters hiding creatures older than fear itself. In the heart of North Africa, where sand now reigns, an ancient delta once pulsed with life. Crocodiles longer than buses, fish with teeth like blades, and at the top, the Spinosaurus. Its sail cut the horizon like a scar of red. It was unlike any predator before or after, part crocodile, part dragon. Its skull was long and narrow, lined with conical teeth made for gripping prey that fought to escape. Its limbs were thick, ending in claws curved like sickles, and when it moved silently, a shadow beneath the water's skin. Half a world away across the prehistoric seas, another empire ruled the West. There, in what would become North America, walked Tyrannosaurus Rex, 30 feet tall, 8 tons of power. Its muscles coiled with energy, its every step shaking the ground. Its roar was not a sound, it was an earthquake given voice. T-Rex was not built to chase, it was built to end. Two kings, sculpted by time. Two worlds divided by millions of years. They never met in life, but if they had, the clash would have shaken the Cretaceous to its core. For decades, scientists have tried to imagine that impossible battle. And to do that, we first need to understand what made them so different. Spinosaurus lived around 95 million years ago, during the mid-Cretaceous. T-Rex appeared much later, in the twilight of the dinosaur age, around 68 to 66 million years ago. Spinosaurus was older, longer, and adapted to the wetlands. T-Rex was newer, stronger, and built for the hunt on land. Two perfect weapons, shaped by different wars. The first clues about Spinosaurus came from Egypt in 1912, when paleontologist Ernst Stromer uncovered bones unlike any he had ever seen. They spoke of a predator longer than any known carnivore, perhaps 15 meters from snout to tail. But in 1944, as war swept across Europe, Stromer's fossils were destroyed in a bombing raid. For half a century, Spinosaurus existed only in sketches and shadows. Then, in the sands of Morocco, the story returned. New fossils emerged, a jaw, a sail, a spine, and with them, a revelation. Spinosaurus wasn't just a land hunter. It was the first dinosaur adapted to life in water. Its bones were dense like those of modern hippos, helping it stay submerged. Its feet were broad, its tail built for propulsion. It didn't chase, it ambushed. A crocodile with the body of a dragon. T-Rex, in contrast, was evolution's answer to perfection on land. Its skull was an engine of destruction, 1.5 meters long, lined with teeth shaped like railroad spikes. Its bite could deliver 6 tons of pressure, enough to crush the bones of another dinosaur in seconds. Its vision was razor-sharp, its sense of smell legendary. T-Rex didn't just kill, it dominated. It was a hunter, a scavenger, a ruler. If you love uncovering the secrets buried in time, subscribe for more journeys like this one. So what happens when land meets water? Imagine a shallow river at dawn. Mist drifting over still water. The Spinosaurus rises from the depths, its sail catching the early light like blood on fire. Its nostrils flare. It smells movement beyond the reeds. Across the clearing, a shadow moves. Trees shake. The tyrant king has arrived. T-Rex lowers its massive skull, tail stiff, muscles quivering. The Spinosaurus hisses, claws carving the mud. For a heartbeat silence, then the world explodes. T-Rex charges, unstoppable momentum, ground cracking beneath its weight. Spinosaurus twists, swiping with claws the size of knives. One strike catches the tyrant's flank. Blood sprays, steam rising from the wound, but pain only fuels the beast. T-Rex lunges forward, jaws locking around Spinosaurus's arm. The sound is deafening. Bone shatters, the river shakes. It's not just a fight, it's evolution colliding with itself. Spinosaurus, born of water and ambush. T-Rex, forged from land and power. Both built for their realms, but only one can rule this one. And yet, beyond the blood and fury lies the deeper truth. This battle never really ends. Because what we're watching isn't a fight between monsters. It's the story of adaptation, of survival, of how nature crafts perfection, then destroys it to begin again. The tyrant king and the river dragon never met. But through their fossils, their legend never died. But the earth still had one last secret to reveal. The battle rages on. The river explodes into chaos, waves breaking against scale and muscle. The Spinosaurus, wounded but furious, swings its tail with the force of a battering ram, slamming into the tyrant's ribs. T-Rex stumbles, the ground trembling beneath its fall. The river dragon seizes the chance, driving its claws deep into the predator's side, forcing it toward the water. This is where Spinosaurus rules, where every ripple hides an advantage. It lunges, dragging its enemy toward the depths. The water turns red. T-Rex thrashes, its roars echoing through the jungle, shaking birds from the trees. For a moment, it looks like the end, the river swallowing the king of the land whole. But even evolution's greatest designs have limits. T-Rex is not made for swimming, yet its rage, its raw power becomes its weapon. With a violent twist, it drives its head upward, jaws clamping down on Spinosaurus's neck. Flesh tears, water boils with movement. The river dragon shrieks and releases its grip. For the first time, it retreats. Both titans back away. Bleeding, breathing heavily, their eyes locked. They are not mindless beasts. They are survivors of an age that punishes weakness. Every scar, every breath, is a story written in evolution's language. Who would win this war depends not on strength alone, but on where it's fought. In deep water, Spinosaurus dominates. Flexible, swift, silent. Its long snout could strike with precision, its claws anchoring it to prey. But on solid land, its own power betrays it, its center of gravity too far forward, its legs too thin for prolonged battle. T-Rex, by contrast, was built to move mountains. Legs like pistons, bones dense as stone, every muscle serving a single purpose: destruction. And yet, for all their might, both faced enemies greater than each other: hunger, climate, change. As the Cretaceous world aged, the balance shifted. Rivers dried, prey vanished, seas retreated. Even the greatest hunters could not conquer the slow, invisible killer that stalked them all: time. Still, their stories didn't end in extinction, but in discovery. In Morocco's burning desert, paleontologists found Spinosaurus's bones where water once flowed. The creature that ruled rivers was now buried in sand, its final irony. They found dense vertebrae, paddle-like limbs, and tailbones shaped like fins. Proof that Spinosaurus had been misunderstood for a century. It wasn't a land predator that swam. It was a swimmer that sometimes walked. Tyrannosaurus fossils told a different tale, not of adaptation, but of dominance. Every bone, every tooth, was a testament to the reign of the ultimate land predator. When scientists reconstructed its skull, they discovered evidence of powerful tendons and jaw muscles that interlocked like gears. Its bite force wasn't just the strongest of any dinosaur. It was the strongest of any creature to ever walk the earth. But strength comes at a price. Its enormous body required constant feeding. A single meal could be hundreds of pounds of flesh. If prey grew scarce, hunger would drive even the king to desperation. Some T-Rex fossils bear bite marks from other tyrannosaurs, proof that these titans sometimes turned on their own kind. If you felt the power of this story so far, subscribe now. There are many more worlds to uncover together. And so, the question remains, who would have won? Spinosaurus, the dragon of the rivers, or Tyrannosaurus, the king of the plains? The truth is, nature does not choose champions, it builds survivors. Both creatures ruled their kingdoms until the world itself began to change. 95 million years ago, massive volcanic eruptions tore through what is now Africa. The lush wetlands that fed Spinosaurus began to vanish. With fewer fish, fewer rivers, its kind began to fade. Meanwhile, in North America, the stage was being set for T-Rex. Its prey, Triceratops, Edmontosaurus, Ankylosaurus, thrived in abundance, and for a time the tyrant king ruled unchallenged, but even kings fall. At the end of the Cretaceous, the sky itself turned against them. A massive asteroid, 10 kilometers wide, struck near the Yucatan Peninsula. In moments the world was set ablaze. Forests ignited, shock waves circled the globe, tidal waves crushed the coastlines, the sunlight vanished. And for the great reptiles that had ruled for 160 million years, the age of giants was over. Yet from their ashes, life endured. Small feathered creatures that shared blood with Tyrannosaurus and its kin survived, clinging to trees, scavenging seeds, adapting faster than the giants ever could. From them would rise the birds of today, living testaments to the line that once ruled the earth. And Spinosaurus? Though long extinct, its memory remained buried, a forgotten chapter of evolution, until we dug it up bone by bone and realized what it truly represented, not just a predator but a pioneer, the first dinosaur to conquer two worlds. The tyrant king and the river dragon never shared the same sky, but in death, they met through us. Through the human desire to understand power, to compare, to imagine. Their rivalry is ours, born from fascination and wonder. Perhaps the real question isn't who would have won, but what their battle reveals about survival itself. Because in nature, victory isn't measured in strength. It's measured in adaptation, in who can change, who can endure, who can outlast the storm. And for all their glory, neither T-Rex nor Spinosaurus could withstand the world that came after. But the earth was not done with its giants yet. When the fires faded and silence returned to earth, the age of giants was gone. But their shadows remained, written in stone, carved by time, waiting for us to find them. 66 million years after their fall, the bones of Tyrannosaurus and Spinosaurus rise again, not in jungles or rivers but in deserts and museums. Dry fossils whispering stories of strength, of hunger, of survival, each one a piece of an ancient rivalry that never truly happened, yet still lives in our imagination. Humans have always been drawn to power, to the roar, the clash, the moment before dominance is decided. That's why we dream of the tyrant king and the river dragon meeting in battle. Because their story mirrors our own, the eternal struggle between two ways of life. One built for force, the other for adaptation. When paleontologists compared their fossils in detail, the truth became clearer than ever. T-Rex was a land predator perfected, legs built for balance, tail for counterweight, teeth shaped like knives for crushing and tearing. Its skull was reinforced like armor, its senses fine-tuned for tracking prey from miles away. It wasn't just a killer, it was a strategist. Every movement, every strike, calculated through evolution's precision. Spinosaurus, meanwhile, was something else entirely, a reminder that life can rewrite its own rules. With its sail towering above its back and a tail shaped like a rudder, it broke every pattern of what a theropod should be. It didn't chase herds or crush bones. It glided through water, silent and spectral, slipping between worlds. In it, nature created not a king but a phantom, one that blurred the line between land and sea. If they ever met, T-Rex might have won the battle. But Spinosaurus won something greater, the right to be different, to evolve beyond what nature expected, and in that it became immortal in another way. Our fascination with these creatures isn't just about their size or ferocity. It's about what they represent, the extremes of life's imagination. Spinosaurus reminds us that innovation comes from change. Tyrannosaurus reminds us that dominance, no matter how great, is temporary. Both remind us that nothing on Earth lasts forever, except the stories we tell. From deserts to laboratories, Scientists now use tools undreamed of a century ago: CT scans, isotopic analysis, digital modeling, to reconstruct these beings not as monsters, but as living, breathing creatures. Every discovery reshapes what we thought we knew. We learned that T-Rex had feathers in its youth, bright, insulating, vibrant. We learned that Spinosaurus's sail may have changed color with the seasons, perhaps even used for display or heat regulation. And we learned that both were part of a complex web of life that thrived for millions of years before vanishing overnight. Even now, we stand where they once stood, small beneath the same sky, fragile before the same forces that shaped and erased them. Their fossils are not just bones, they are warnings. The Earth changes always. The powerful fall. The adaptable survive. Imagine a world where they had lived on, where the asteroid never struck. Would the tyrant king have evolved into something smarter, faster, even more cunning? Would the river dragon have perfected its mastery of water, spreading into oceans, becoming something beyond reptile, beyond imagination? Perhaps one would have replaced the mammals that became us. Perhaps they would be looking at the stars now, as we do, wondering what came before them. But fate chose another path, and in that path they became eternal, through us, through wonder, through the stories that keep them alive. Today, children draw them, dream of them, build them in games and films. Adults study them, debate them, resurrect them in words and images. The tyrant king still roars. The river dragon still glides beneath imaginary waters. And though their world has turned to dust, their presence never truly left, because the past is not gone. It waits, buried, patient, a heartbeat beneath the rock. And when we listen closely enough, we can still hear it. The stomp of the tyrant, the ripple of the dragon, the pulse of a world that once belonged to them. In the end, their story isn't about victory or defeat. It's about endurance, about the strange, unstoppable force of life itself. For millions of years they ruled. For millions more they've inspired. And even now, when we speak their names, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, they rise again, for just a moment, alive in our minds. That is their true triumph. Not survival of the flesh, but of memory, and somewhere, in the imagination of every person who has ever stared at a fossil and wondered what it was like to stand before a living giant, the battle still rages. T-Rex against Spinosaurus, land against water, power against adaptation, and the Earth, always, as the silent witness. Because no matter who would have won, one truth remains. The age of dinosaurs never really ended. It simply changed shape, and it still lived within us.